All right, in the remote green stretches of Assam's Dibrugarh district, something extraordinary has emerged. What looks like an ordinary highway is in reality a strategic military runway. A strip of asphalt built not just for cars and trucks, but for fighter jets, transport aircraft, and even emergency evacuation missions. And on 14th of February 2026, history was made here. Prime Minister Modi became the first Prime Minister of India to land on this highway runway, transforming a stretch of national highway into a symbol of India's growing strategic preparedness. Hello and welcome. You're watching NewsX Deep Dive with me, Vineet Malhotra, and today we take a look at the story of the Moran emergency landing facility, why it exists, how it works, and why it matters far beyond Assam. Well, at first glance, it looks like a modern-day highway, but hidden in plain sight is one of India's most strategic aviation innovations, the Moran Emergency Landing Facility. Located on the bypass in Assam's Dibrugarh district, it is a specially reinforced stretch of national highway designed to function as an emergency runway. The stretch of highway has been engineered with one clear purpose. Fighter jets can land and take off here. Military transport aircraft can operate from here. Civil aircraft can use it during emergencies, and disaster relief missions can be launched from here as well. In other words, this is a highway that can instantly transform into an airstrip when needed. And that transformation could make the difference between success and disaster in times of war, natural calamities, or aviation emergencies. This facility is what military planners call a dual-use infrastructure asset. It serves two functions. The first, as a regular highway. Most of the time, the Moran stretch functions as a normal national highway, and vehicles move freely, connecting towns and improving civilian mobility. Secondly, it works as an emergency runway. When needed, traffic can be halted instantly, the highway is cleared, and special landing equipment is activated. And within minutes, it becomes a full-fledged runway. An aircraft can land, refuel, evacuate personnel, or deploy troops. This flexibility is critical because conventional air bases are vulnerable during war. Enemy missiles can target fixed airfields, but highways are harder to target and easier to disperse. This concept ensures a continuity of operations even if air bases are compromised. The Moran Strip has been built with reinforced pavement and structural strength capable of handling heavy military aircraft. It can accommodate fighter jets and transport aircraft weighing up to 74 tons. Some key features and capabilities of the ELF include the 4.2 kilometer stretch that is reinforced and widened to handle frontline fighter jets such as the Rafale and Sukhoi, transport aircraft like the C-130J Hercules, and helicopters. As for operational readiness, before use, the highway can be sealed off to civilian traffic, and security personnel can secure the perimeter. The aircraft can then be refueled and rearmed rapidly. Multi-use design, the facility serves both combat and humanitarian purposes, including disaster response in flood-prone and remote areas. Finally, it provides immense flexibility. It acts as an alternative to Dibrugarh Airport, enhancing aviation redundancy in strategic northeast corridors. Now, to understand why Moran matters, you have to look at its strategic location. India's northeast is one of the most strategically sensitive regions in the country. It shares borders with China, Myanmar, as well as Bangladesh. And beyond those borders lie geopolitical tensions, territorial disputes, and sensitive military zones. In fact, the Moran airstrip lies less than 300 kilometers from the Indo-China line of actual control. And military planners must always be prepared for rapid deployment. That's where the strip comes handy. This highway runway provides a forward operational capability, allowing aircraft to operate closer to sensitive zones. It strengthens India's military preparedness and logistical flexibility in the region. If an airbase becomes unusable due to attack or disaster, an aircraft can divert here instantly. It is also a major asset for disaster relief, floods, earthquakes, or emergencies that frequently affect the northeast. And now Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made history. After arriving at the Chabua airfield in Dibrugarh, he boarded an Indian Air Force C-130J Super Hercules transport aircraft. That aircraft then flew to Moran and landed directly on the National Highway runway. This marked the first time a Prime Minister of India had landed on an emergency landing facility built on a highway in the northeast. The landing was not just symbolic, it was operational. It demonstrated that the facility is fully functional and capable of handling real aircraft operations. The Prime Minister later witnessed aerial displays involving fighter jets, helicopters and transport aircraft showcasing the runway's operational capability. These aircraft included Rafales, the Sukhoi, the Su-30MK and a helicopter, the AN-32. The Moran facility was built at a cost of around Rs 100 crores and developed through coordination between the Indian Air Force and the highway authorities. Broadly, its purpose includes military readiness, and this involves launching and landing fighter jets near operational zones, deploying troops rapidly and delivering military equipment. Secondly, disaster response. The ELF will help evacuate civilians during floods or earthquakes, deliver relief supplies to isolated areas and support rescue missions. There is added purpose of aviation emergencies, under which it may provide alternate landing if nearby airports are unavailable and serve as backup runway for Dibrugarh airports. Officials describe it as a strategic multifunctional runway designed to strengthen defense, logistics and disaster response. The Moran emergency landing facility stands out for several reasons. It is the first highway-based emergency landing strip in northeast India. It is located near sensitive international borders. It is dual-use infrastructure for military and civilian needs and can handle heavy transport and fighter aircraft. Thus, it represents a fusion of civilian infrastructure and military readiness. While the Moran emergency landing facility is more than a runway, it is also a statement of preparedness and of strategic intent. With Prime Minister Modi's historic landing, Moran has officially entered India's strategic map. A stretch of highway in Assam has become a runway of national importance, and in times of crisis, it could become a lifeline. Let's talk about this. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Air Commodore Rana Sanjeev Mehndi-Ratta, former Indian Air Force officer. Sir, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. Well, this is, of course, like we all know, a very sensitive part of the country. And apart from being sensitive, it is also close to adversarial intents by China and perhaps to some extent Bangladesh as well. How is this highway, going to become a template for India in terms of its, due diligence when it comes to defense, as well as, tackling any contingencies when it comes to, natural disasters or even battles and wars?
Hello, Vineet. Good evening. The template you're talking about, we have a doctrine of using the highways as an alternate, which is called highway operations. This doctrine is an advanced doctrine and we have been using it. We have already got it in the north and the central India as well as the western part of the country. The northeast did not have one. So we now have one in a strategic place, which is close to Dibrugarh. And like you said, just about 300 kilometers from our adversary. It is an emergency measure and it does give us a lot of strategic freedom. Not many Air Forces have this doctrine. USA and a few advanced countries do have it, and we are also on the map for this. And it helps us not only in the emergency operations when the runways are not available. We have Dibrugarh, we have Chhabwa, we have even Jorat on the west of it. But whenever we do not have the available facilities on those runways, this will always come in handy. It's a prepared strip. It is reinforced to ensure the LCN, that is the load configuration for a fighter aircraft up to 40 tons, as well as transport aircraft up to 74 tons, which cover most of our aircraft. You saw C-130 today itself. So we can have the aircraft up to that weight as well as the helicopters. So we will have helicopters, transports as well as fighter operations from here in emergency measures. For, as you know, Assam is flood affected also, and it is flood prone as well as seismic activity prone. So it will come in very handy in the case of war when we need it, as well as in peacetime for disaster relief. So this measure is such that it can be activated very fast. The perimeter is secured. The 4.2 kilometer stretch is reinforced, as well as the signages and the central median. All those things are portable. So you can convert it into a runway very fast, and you ensure that there are no obstructions on both the sides very close to it, and it can be utilized, and it is a strategic freeness to us and a freedom, and we are just moving ahead with this strategic freedom.
All right, sir, thank you so much for that perspective and for taking out time and speaking with us. We take a short break.